Hi everyone, welcome back to Kelly Infidelity Stories. If you're new here, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a twisted tale of temptation and heartbreak. For my loyal returning subscribers, thank you for always showing up. Tonight's story is raw, forbidden, and completely irreversible. Let's dive in. From the outside, we looked flawless. My mother, Uriel, was the epitome of polished elegance, sharp blazers, perfect posture, the kind of woman who commanded boardrooms and dinner parties alike. Coleman, her second husband, had that classic leading man appeal: square jaw, easy politician's smile, broad shoulders that filled out his shirts just right. And then there was me, Chelsea, the quiet 21-year-old daughter freshly back from college, trying to figure out where I fit in this glossy picture frame. But perfection is always a lie when desire creeps in. The man I was supposed to call stepdad became something dangerous, something I craved. And the woman who raised me became collateral damage. I never planned to become the villain in my own mother's story. But once that first line was crossed, there was no map back to innocence. Uriel married Coleman when I was 17, just months after my real dad's funeral. The house still smelled like grief, old coffee grounds and wilted flowers. Then Coleman arrived like a fresh coat of paint over cracked walls. He called me kiddo, fixed the leaky faucet, made Uriel laugh in a way I hadn't heard since before the diagnosis. I hated how seamlessly he slid into our lives. I hated how she glowed around him. Mostly, I hated that part of me noticed how his forearms flexed when he carried groceries, how his voice dropped an octave when he said my name. By the time I turned 21 and came home for what was supposed to be a short summer break, everything felt different. My body had changed, curves where there used to be straight lines, confidence where there used to be awkwardness. Uriel noticed and disapproved. Arguments erupted over crop tops, late nights, the guys I brought around. "You're being reckless, Chelsea," she'd snap, heels clicking as she stormed off. Coleman always played referee. One evening after yet another blowout, Uriel retreated to her office. Coleman found me sulking on the patio swing. "You're just like your mom," he said, leaning against the railing with a beer in hand. "Stubborn, fiery, beautiful when you're angry." I rolled my eyes. "Flattery won't make her like me more." He stepped closer. "I wasn't talking about her." His gaze held mine a beat too long. Heat crawled up my neck. I told myself it was nothing. But it wasn't nothing. It built slowly, insidiously. He noticed when I dyed my hair auburn. "Suits you," he murmured while pouring coffee, his fingers brushing mine. He complimented the way I chopped onions for dinner. Precise, confident. One night Uriel worked late on a product launch. I was sprawled on the couch in shorts and a thin tank, binging a thriller. Coleman walked in wearing grey sweats and a fitted black tee that hugged every line of his chest. He sat beside me, close. Our thighs touched. "Good taste in movies," he said, stealing popcorn from my bowl. "Don't pretend you like this genre. You're a rom-com guy through and through." He smirked. "I'm full of surprises, Chelsea." The air thickened. My pulse hammered in my ears louder than the movie soundtrack. When the credits rolled, he didn't move. "You've grown up a lot," he said quietly. "It's different seeing you now." I met his eyes. "Different good." He didn't answer with words. His hand rested on the cushion between us, pinky grazing my thigh. Electric. The games escalated. Next morning, Uriel still asleep, I came downstairs in a white tank, no bra, thin straps slipping off my shoulders. Coleman froze mid-sip at the kitchen island. His jaw tightened. He looked, really looked, then forced his eyes back to his phone. But the air crackled. I poured coffee slowly, bending just enough. He cleared his throat. "Careful with that shirt. Might give someone the wrong idea." I smiled over the rim. "Maybe I want them to have the right one." Poolside became our unspoken battlefield. One blistering afternoon, Uriel at yoga, I lay out in my tiniest black bikini. I felt his stare from the glass doors before I saw him. Drink in hand, he stepped onto the patio. "You should be careful, Chelsea," he said, voice rough. "Someone might get ideas." I rolled onto my stomach, reached back, and slowly untied the strings at my back. The top fell away. "Who says it's the wrong idea?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. He stayed rooted for 10 agonizing seconds. Then he turned and walked inside. But I knew, he was fighting it too. The dam broke during Uriel's 3-day conference. Friday night. House empty except for us. I was in the kitchen pouring wine when he appeared behind me, close enough I felt his breath on my neck. "You have no idea what you do to me," he growled low. I turned. Our faces inches apart. "Show me." "We shouldn't." When I came, I bit his shoulder to muffle the cry. Afterward, he held me against him, breathing ragged. "I begged you to stop in my head," I whispered. "But I prayed you wouldn't." He kissed my forehead. "I couldn't if I tried." After that, we became stolen moments everywhere. Quick, Bruising kisses in the garage while Iriel skirt at the dinner table, fingers teasing while she talked about quarterly reports. Late-night texts. You left your earrings in the guest room equals meet me there in 5. The guest bathroom while Iriel was on a loud Zoom call downstairs. He locked the door, lifted me onto the sink, pushed my... She'll hear. I bit my lip bloody to obey. I told myself it was fair. Iriel never really saw me, only her perfect image of a daughter. Coleman saw everything. He listened when I talked about my fears, my dreams. He made me feel alive, wanted, powerful. But guilt gnawed at the edges, especially when Iriel started noticing. A sharper tone, lingering glances. Why are you always smiling at nothing? She'd ask. I shrugged. Just happy, Mum. The explosion came on a rainy Thursday. Rosemary chicken, candlelight, forced normalcy. Iriel set her fork down. Calm. Deadly calm. So, Chelsea, she said, eyes flicking between us, how long have you... My stomach dropped. Coleman went still. What? I laughed. Too high, too fake. That's insane. Don't. Her voice cracked like glass. Don't insult me. I've seen the looks. The touches. The way you two breathe the same air like it's oxygen and I'm just furniture. She turned to Coleman. I gave you my trust. My home. My daughter. And you took her instead. He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Iriel stood. Get out. Both of you can rot together for all I care. She walked out into the rain. The door slammed like a gun. The aftermath was worse than the affair. Iriel stopped speaking to us. Meals were silent. The house felt like a tomb. Coleman tried apologies, flowers, promises. She threw them away. 2 weeks later, she handed me an envelope. First, last month's rent on an apartment near campus, plus tuition for the next semester. Go, she said flatly. I can't look at you. I packed in silence. Coleman watched from the hallway, eyes hollow. At the door, I paused. He stepped forward. I never wanted to hurt her, he whispered. Then why didn't you stop? He had no answer. I left without hugging him, without looking back. Now I live alone in a small one-bedroom. I still feel the ghost of his hands sometimes. The thrill. The shame. Coleman texted once, on my birthday. Thinking of you. I deleted it. Blocked him. Iriel and I exchanged polite holiday cards. Nothing more.